my apologies in advance, but it's good to see so many Democratic activists in this town. So I'm so pleased and happy to meet you all.
And Jan is also a member of the Central Committee, an elected member, and I am her alternate.
That's right.
So thank you so much for that. We have lots of fun in the committee. As we laugh. Okay, I'm going
At the end of the
to,
meeting.
we're going to go ahead and start this meeting. And as promised, in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance, we are going to start, to quote, the Constitution instead. So we are going to, and this was Van Rainey's suggestion. Thank you, Van, if you're on for this. I think it's really important. And you know, when I looked this up today, of course, I know the preamble, mainly from Schoolhouse Rock. I think I have to actually sing it to say it. But you know, I was reading about the Constitution and the first convention, and they almost didn't get through the writing this. You know, they had such disagreements, and it was the North and South. The northern states who did not want slavery, and there was lots of compromise. And also because it was so friggin' hot, they also wanted to get out of there. So the later it went into the negotiations, the more they got done as the summer moved on. And I think by September, they were finally able to come to enough compromise to write the Constitution. So we're going to start here with the preamble. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And with that, we are going to open up the meeting. Let me stop sharing this. Shirley, you want to unmute yourself? And I'm going to spotlight you. Let's see, where are you? There we go. And I'm going to make you co-host. Shirley, do you want to unmute yourself? Here we have for SB 42, the California Fair Elections Act. And this is just getting kicked off. There's actually a fundraiser coming up next month that I will be sharing with members. And Igor Trageb is one of the panelists for this upcoming fundraiser. So I will go ahead and send it out. And Shirley.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I'm Shirley Shellengoski, and I am the East Bay coordinator for the California Clean Money Campaign. I just actually got off a meeting with Trent Lang. So, you know, he also, I think, might have been invited at some point, but he is super busy. He's kind of a one-man show. I don't know how he runs all this stuff at California Clean Money, but it's just amazing how much he can actually cover. So yeah, we were talking about the kickoff too, and should I start over?
No, go ahead. I have a dual recording going, but this one's for YouTube. I apologize.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the kickoff afterwards, but I understand that you want to hear a little bit about the two-pager. So I just want to give you some information on what our bill is. SB 42 is called the California Fair Elections Act. And what it will do is it'll allow public funding of campaigns so elections are won and not bought. Sounds really simple, but actually the history of this is that a long time ago in 2002, the California Clean Money Campaign was formed just to do this very thing, to have publicly funded elections. Somehow in the 1970s, it became illegal to have publicly funded elections. And we see what's happened with big money. And so we don't want to have Elon Musk buy all of our elections in California. So this is going to be a really important bill. So the amount of money in politics is just outrageous. And this bill is authored by Senator Tom Umberg and Ben Allen and Assemblymember Alex Lee. And what it will do is it'll put the California Fair Elections Act on the November 2026 ballot to allow public funding of election campaigns to empower voters in any jurisdiction in California. So it's not going to require that anybody do publicly funded elections. All it's going to do is lift the ban. And it's actually illegal now to do that, except for the 5 jurisdictions. And that's San Francisco, Berkeley, Long Beach, LA, and San Francisco. So because they're charter cities, they're the only ones that are allowed to do publicly funded elections. And because of that, Karen Bass was able to win her election against a billionaire who spent $1 million against her in LA for mayor. And she used publicly elected funds to do that, or public funds to do the election. And it doesn't actually match exactly what the $1 million, but it gave her enough money that she could compete with him. So that means that small people can send in their money to her, and she was able to actually win the election for mayor. So yeah, the massive fundraising that's happened in all of our elections. And it's not just Elon Musk. I mean, everybody's doing this. And unfortunately, Republicans and Democrats are doing it, but it seems like we're often outnumbered by the Republicans. But one of the initiatives we had was Uber. And I think $25 million was spent in that election. So that's just an obscene amount of money. And they won because they're able to confuse people, and they didn't have a lot of money against that initiative. So it's really important that we look at what is the funding. We were also responsible for doing the California Disclose Act, which showed the top 3 funders of who was funding the political ads. So I got involved in California Clean Money in 2011 or 2012, and it took us 7 years. I got in on the 2nd year that we were doing the California Disclose Act, and it took us 7 years to pass that. But Clean Money Elections was around since 2002. And like I said, they thought it was going to be just a quick deal to get the publicly funded elections. And they were so wrong. I mean, here we are in 2025, still trying to pass publicly funded elections. So it's pretty crazy. But we did take some polls before we actually put this information out. 81% of California voters believe that big money campaign contributors have too much influence over our elections. And that is very true. I mean, if everybody really knew all the facts, I think it would be even a higher number than that. So, and I talked about the 5 charter cities that do have public funding of campaigns that can amplify the voices of everyday voters. You know, like I said, I think the way it got banned is there was actually 2 laws in effect at one time in the 70s. And one said that the elections should be banned from having public funds. And the other one said the opposite. So by the time they wrangled both the bills, they made a compromise, and that's why it was banned. But there's no reason it should be banned. I mean, you know, publicly funded elections are going to be the cure to what's happening with us now with the influence of big money. So, so what SB 42 does is just put a measure on the ballot to allow the public financing of campaigns. And it places that, it places the California Fair Elections Act on the November 2026 ballot. What we do at California Clean Money is we have a lot of volunteers who actually go up to Sacramento and talk with our legislators. We have We have a day that we just do a lobby day. We're all volunteer lobbyists. And we actually go up there and we ask them to please support our bills. And we actually go into the rooms and we actually testify as well that we would like them to pass this. So right now where it's at is we've only had one stage right now. It's gone through the Senate elections already, and it passed with a pretty significant vote. I think there was only one Republican that voted against it. So something like 5-1 or something like that. So yeah, it's really important that we do that because our legislators have to hear from us. And that's really important for you as well. Even though you may not be involved directly with our campaign, if you could actually call your legislators, if you sign our petition and give us your email and everything, you'll actually be notified by email of all the things that are coming up, all the recent events that will be coming up. And usually what we do is we go up to Sacramento at least 3 or 4 times during the year to actually do hearings up there. And we have at least one lobby day and sometimes 2 lobby days, because right now it's gone through the Senate elections and it has to go to Senate appropriations next. What happened last year, we thought we had passed it last year. And at the very last minute, Buffy Wicks had decided that she was the appropriations chair last year and she still is this year. And she said that she didn't believe that most people cared about public financing of elections, so she threw it out. And we were really surprised because we thought it was going to be a done deal last year. So this year, that's why we're having the kickoff in the Berkeley area, because that's Buffy Wicks's area, and we've invited her to come. Although she's saying now that she might support us, you know, we can never take anything for granted, because we kind of did that last year, and this time we're out doing the petitions. We're going to show her how many people are actually interested in this campaign. And that's where you guys all come in. If you can go to our website and sign on www.yesfairelections.org, and you can see our petition for SB 42. Or if you're actually out at an event, because we're at the Tesla takedowns, we're on all the hands off rallies, and there's petitioners out. And I know for me, I have a gold t-shirt, so a lot of people are going to be in gold t-shirts, but make sure you sign the SB 42, because that's really going to let the people know who, you know, how many people are interested in this. And, you know, information campaign is the big thing. So, so it's going to require that public funding candidates also abide by expenditure limits. So they can't go over a certain amount of expenditure limits. And that's set by the jurisdiction at the time. So say if this bill does pass, it doesn't automatically mean that everything's going to be okay. It will be at the state level, but maybe like the cities, they have to vote on their own campaign financing, because it can be done several different ways. Sometimes you can get democracy dollars, many different ways that you can do it. But I think that's how Karen Bass won, is they had democracy dollars and they gave every resident a certain amount of money. And a lot of people don't have money to contribute, but if you send in these democracy vouchers, that adds up to the candidate who's going to get it. So it doesn't restrict the other person, didn't restrict the millionaire that she was running against, or the billionaire that she was running against. They can still spend as much money as they want, but it does level the playing field in that she had enough money to compete and counter some of the untruths. Okay. But it's going to require that they meet, the candidates that use the system must meet strict criteria to qualify, such as requiring candidates to receive small dollar contributions or vouchers from a specific number of adult residents. And it would also prohibit the use of public funds to pay for any legal defense or fines. So hopefully that wouldn't be an issue, but if it does become an issue, they cannot use that money for that. It strictly has to be used on their campaign. It would also prohibit the candidates from receiving public funds from repaying personal loans. with public funds or repaying personal loans with private donations after the campaign ends. So that is definitely prohibited in this. So there are strict guidelines. And it prohibits public funding from discriminating based on party or against challengers in favor of incumbents. It bans the public campaign funds from coming from money earmarked for education, transportation, or public safety. So as long as they're willing to follow those guidelines, they are eligible to receive the funds. Just to let you know who some of our sponsors are. Well, California Clean Money is the main sponsor. California Common Cause is supporting this bill. The League of Women Voters of California is supporting this bill. And we have a lot of other sponsors. And we're hoping that tonight, I don't know if you can take the vote tonight or you have to go into a special committee because I'm not sure how this is set up, but we're hoping that you would vote to endorse us. And there's two ways you could do it. You can vote to endorse us, or you can vote to co-sponsor us, or both. Okay, and endorsement just means that you're behind us and you're going to support the bill. Co-sponsor, the kickoff, means that you possibly could send a speaker, or if you wish, you can also send some campaign money to help finance the kickoff. And just as a reminder, the kickoff will be May 18th at the Berkeley Unitarian Universalist Church. I know it's on Cedar Avenue, and I was going to get the exact address, but I know it's on Cedar Avenue. And when you get the email, if you actually signed the petition and you're getting emails, you will get the location. But it's going to be from 3:30 to 5:30. And then after that, there will be some training, like if people want to become volunteers, like if you want to do what I do, go out and petition at all these different events. 4 of us went up to the Bernie event last week, and we got over 500 signatures from the people at Bernie. So that was a really good thing. Bernie has mentioned that public financing of campaigns is virtually the only way that we can regain control. And so, and then a lot of people came from the Bay Area, but it was definitely a really good event. And with the Tesla takedowns, we're getting a lot of them too, and with the hands off as well. And I know there's let's see, a protest over in Lafayette every Tuesday. We've been going there. So, okay. So anyway, 68% of likely California voters support the California Fair Elections Act. And that includes all parties, 68% of all likely voters. And of the Democrats, 75% of Democrats support this, and only 16% of Republicans, and 9% of other. So yeah, but actually, oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. This is actually, I said that wrong. Okay, Republicans is actually 59%. Okay, so Republicans are supporting it as well because they're starting to recognize that big money in campaigns is really detrimental to what's happening in our elections. And of the no party, 64% of them support the bill that we're currently working on. George Skelton of the Los Angeles Times said that if the public does not finance political candidates, special interests will happily step in. And that's what we've been trying to tell people forever, that special interests are the ones that are basically ruining our democracy. And we need to get public funds in there to level the playing field. So I'll talk about the different kinds of public funding systems allowed by the California Fair Elections Act. Like I said, it does not institute public financing anywhere. All it's going to do is to lift the ban, the 1970s ban, on the law. And there's some basic requirements. You can have the matching fund systems. That's donations from small donors that are magnified with matching them with public funds. So you can have matching funds on that. Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Berkeley all provide a 6-to-1 matching funds on small donations. And then just some other states that have dealt with it, like New York City provides 8-to-1 matching funds on donations up to $175. I know that Oregon, I'm pretty sure that Oregon, I think I'll talk about that next because I think they do democracy dollars. But anyway, if you have the matching funds, it empowers the small donors to compete with the large donors. So that's a pretty significant amount of money. If you were only able to give $10, and to have that multiplied by 6 or 8. So it's really a good deal. The second way is by democracy voucher systems. Residents can receive the vouchers they give to candidates who agree to abide by the specified contribution and spending limits. Seattle, and we think that Oakland is going to do this as well, gives them 4 $25 vouchers to every adult resident, and that would allow everyone to help the candidate of their choice, even if they can't afford to donate. So a lot of these people that donate through the voucher system are first-time donors. They have not donated before because either they don't have the money or they just haven't figured out that that's what they're supposed to be doing. But when they get these vouchers in the mail, it really is going to amplify the vote because it's very easy to send it back to the candidate of their choice. The third way is you can have full funding of clean election system. The candidates can qualify by raising enough small contributions and then receive a public grant to fully fund their campaign, as long as they don't raise any additional private funds. That's one thing they're not allowed. No private funds are allowed. These are only public funds. And that is used in Connecticut, Maine, Arizona, and Albuquerque. Ensures that the candidates are not influenced by private donations. So, like I said, the person running against them is allowed to use their private donations, but this is enough to level the playing field. Another way they can do it is the full funding democracy vouchers. The California Clean Money Campaign has proposed a hybrid of vouchers and full public funding that would allow candidates to qualify for full public funding grants by getting a large enough number of vouchers instead of contributions. So candidates could then turn it into extra vouchers for extra funds. So, and there's been proven benefits with that. Everywhere that they have had publicly funded elections, our elections are much more democratic. The people are, coming out to support the candidates that they want to support, and they have a voice. So it's not just the rich people like Elon Musk who have a voice. So it amplifies everyday voters and provides candidates with a viable alternative fundraising method, not reliant on the wealthy donors or the special interests. It allows qualified candidates from all walks of life to compete and win. So I think that's a really important statement right there. You don't have to be rich to run for office if you have the public financing. I know that's been a big problem in our past elections here in California, that it does take a lot of money, a lot of private funding and special interest to fund that. And people who have tried to do small fund donations just on their own without public financing have had a really rough run of it. So, and maybe didn't win, maybe did deserve to win. But the public funding systems help qualified candidates run competitive campaigns, even if they aren't wealthy or have wealthy donors. So Los Angeles now has the most diverse city council ever, with all but 1 of 5 council members elected using matching funds. And that's because they're a charter city. So I think Oakland hasn't really done their kickoff of public funding, but the other 4 have. And it's being pretty successful. So it increases the diversity of campaign contributors. A study by MapLight, I think MapLight's still around, found that during the first cycle of the matching funds program in Berkeley, donors to participating in campaigns were spread across more of the city. So we want diversity in our elections, but a lot of times we weren't getting that with the regular private donors that were wealthy. And a 2020 study from Georgetown University found that since Seattle began democracy vouchers in 2017, the donor pool has become increasingly large and diverse. And that's what we want. We want every voice to count in our elections. So, and then the public funded candidates can beat big money 85% of Connecticut candidates for the General Assembly used public funds to seek office in 2018. The result was that 99% of campaign funds came from real people, compared to 49% before the Clean Elections program. And Connecticut had nearly the highest percent of monetarily competitive legislative races in the nation. So that's really good news. That shows that it really does work. Democracy voucher candidates in Seattle beat millions spent against them. In 2019, Amazon.com and other corporations spent $2.6 million in independent expenditures trying to defeat a single slate of candidates who were using democracy vouchers, but 4 out of the 6 candidates they opposed who were using the vouchers won anyway. So this really does work. Matching funds helped LA Mayor Karen Bass, we talked about that, defeat a billionaire. In the 2022 mayoral election, Karen Bass's billionaire opponent, Rick Caruso, spent over $108 million. Despite that, the $2.3 million in matching funds helped provide her with enough funds to get her message out and prevail. And she's still mayor. So, okay. So, and then I think you wanted me to talk a little bit about the language too that's in the bill. So I'll go ahead and do that next. I have to put that on my phone, so let me just.
And I did, by the way, I did post in the chat the 2-page document that we sent out as well in an email, and then also the kickoff event. So
okay, great. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. Okay, let me find the language. See, I have a little bit more time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so just to let you know, Umberg, Allen, and Cervantes are the principal authors, and the principal co-authors are Senators Becker, Blakespear, and Stern. And I know we've worked a lot with the California Clean Money with Senator Umberg and Allen, and as well as Stern as well. So, okay, so SB 42 as amended by the it amends the Political Reform Act of 1974 for public campaign financing, California Fair Elections Act of 2026. Existing law in the Political Reform Act of 1974 prohibits a public offer from expending or a candidate from accepting public monies for the purpose of seeking elective office. And like I said, that only five exceptions is the 5 charter cities, because they don't have to obey the election laws for the state of California. So the bill would permit a public officer or candidate to expend or accept public funds as defined for the purpose of seeking elective office unless the funds are earmarked by a state or local entity for education, transportation, or public safety. The bill would require candidates to abide by specified expenditure limits and meet strict criteria as defined to qualify for public funds. The bill would prohibit public funds from being used to pay legal defense funds, as we talked about earlier, or to repay personal loans to their campaign. And the bill would permit a statute, ordinance, or charter to establish standards to increase the expenditure limits for each qualified voluntarily participating candidate pursuant to a specific formula. The bill provides that the Fair Political Practices Commission is not responsible for administering or enforcing a system of public funding of candidates established by a local government agency. So existing law prohibits a foreign government or foreign principal from making a contribution, expenditure, or independent expenditure in connection with the qualification or support of or opposition to any state or local ballot measure or in connection with the election of a candidate to a state or local office. Under existing law, a person who violates this prohibition is guilty of a misdemeanor and subject to a fine equal to the amount contributed or expended. This bill would specify that a person who violates the prohibition above is guilty of a misdemeanor and would require that the person be fined an amount at least equal to the amount contributed or expended and not exceeding a maximum amount of 3 times the amount contributed or expended. The Political Reform Act of 1974, an initiative measure, provides that the act may be amended by a statute that becomes effective upon approval of the voters. This bill would require the Secretary of State to submit the provisions of the bill to the voters for approval at the November 3rd, 2026 statewide general election as specified. So, the people of the state of California do enact as follows. Section 1, this act shall be known and may be cited as the California Fair Elections Act of 2026. And Section 2, the legislature finds and declares all of the following. All citizens should be able to make their voices heard in the political process and hold their elected officials accountable. Elections for local or state elective office shall be fair, open, and competitive. The increasing costs of political campaigns can force candidates to rely on large contributions from wealthy donors and special interests, which can give those wealthy donors and special interests disproportionate influence over the governmental decisions. Such disproportionate influence can undermine the public's trust that public officials are performing their duties in an impartial manner and that government is serving the needs and responding to the wishes of all citizens equally without regard to their wealth. Special interests contribute more to incumbents than challengers because they seek access to the local elected officials, and such contributions account for a large portion of the financial incumbency advantage, as confirmed by studies such as those published in the Journal of Politics in 2014 and the Political Research Quarterly in 2016. Citizen-funded election programs in which qualified candidates can receive public funds for the purpose of communicating with voters rather than relying exclusively on private donations are currently operating in 5 charter cities, as well as numerous state and local jurisdictions. Let's see, I'll just go ahead and go to the end. It's not too much longer. Citizen-funded election programs encourage competition by reducing the financial advantages of incumbency and making it possible for citizens from all walks of life, not only those with connections to wealthy donors or special interests, to run for office. It's confirmed by studies, but it actually is going to represent everyone. By reducing reliance on wealthy donors and special interests, citizen-funded election programs inhibit improper practices, protect against corruption or the appearance of corruption, and protect the political integrity of our governmental institutions. In Johnson versus Bradley, California 4th 389, the California Supreme Court highlighted the Court of Appeals observation that it seems obvious that any public money reduces rather than increases the fundraising pressures on public office seekers, and therefore reduces the undue influence of special interest groups. Buckley v. Vallejo, this is something we've talked about a lot in one of our groups, 424 of US 1, the United States Supreme Court recognized that public financing as a means of eliminating the improper influence of large private contributions furthers a significant governmental interest. That was 1976. In Arizona, the Free Enterprise v. Bennett, 2011, 564 US 721, the United States Supreme Court acknowledged that public financing of elections can further significant governmental interest, such as the state interest in preventing corruption, quoted by Buckley v. Vallejo. In Buckley v. Vallejo, the United States Supreme Court further noted that citizen-funded election programs facilitate and enlarge public discussion and participation of the electoral process, goals vital to a self-governing people. The absolute prohibition on public campaign financing allows special interests to gain disproportionate influence and unfairly favors incumbents. An exception should be created to permit citizen-funded election programs so that elections may be conducted more fairly. I think that's what we all want. Okay, so section 85300, the government code is amended to read, a public officer shall not expend and a candidate shall not accept any public funds for the purpose of seeking elective office if the funds are earmarked by any state or local entity for education, transportation, or public safety. Candidates have to abide by the expenditure limits and meet strict criteria. They cannot be used to pay legal defenses, as we discussed. They cannot repay personal loans, and they can't do anything after their campaign ends for personal reasons. Expenditure means voluntary spending limits established by statute, ordinance, or charter that qualified voluntarily participating candidates must abide by to receive the public funds. Independent expenditures against means the sum of any expenditures made or expenses incurred by any person or persons for the purpose of making independent expenditures in opposition to a specific candidate. Independent expenditures in support means the sum of any expenditures made or the expenses incurred by any person or person for the purpose of making independent expenditures in support of a specific candidate. Available candidate funds means the candidate's expenditure limit or the sum of all contributions and public funds received by the candidate's controlled committee for the elective office, whichever is less. Net supportive funds means the sum of available candidate funds plus the independent expenditures in support of that candidate minus the independent expenditures against that candidate.
Shirley,
Public.
I do want to allow some time for questions. So,
okay, I'll just do this last one on public funds. Public funds just means that any monies provided to a candidate by state or local government entity for the purpose of seeking elective office. So, okay. So yeah, that's pretty much the language. You can go ahead and read the language also. It's on our website. Our website is www.yesfairelections.org. Like I said, if you could please go on there and sign the petition, or if you see us out at the rallies, please sign the petition. We still need volunteers. That's one of our biggest needs, to actually help us collect signatures and to make calls. Like when we have to call, when we're actually calling each of the legislators and the governor to make sure that they sign this, we need people that will get on the telephones and call as well. So, okay, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Is there any questions that people would like to ask about this?
I think we do have a couple. We have one in the chat, and I'm going to let Ellis go first, and then we'll ask the one in the chat. So, Ellis, you've had your hand up for a while.
Okay.
I've had my hand up for a while. Right. Since I have the floor, I move that the Tri-Valley Democratic Club endorse and support SB 42 and California Clean Money Campaign with a $200 donation to the campaign. Do I hear a second, Sharon?
I'll second it.
Eloise gave me a second. So there's a motion on the floor. I'd also like to say that the Tri-Valley Democratic Club has been in the forefront of the Clean Money campaign in this area for a long time. Shirley's predecessor, Joe Ely, was our club treasurer and a leader of this club. This club led a large demonstration in front of the federal building in San Francisco about clean money. Many of us have been up to Sacramento with Shirley and Trent Lang and have pushed this campaign. So this is very much something we've been involved in for a long time, and I very much encourage everybody to vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
We do have a motion on the floor for a $200 donation. It was seconded. I'd like to finish up that vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, it sounds like the ayes have it.
Thank you
So
all.
we will do that. As far as endorsing tonight, I believe we do have to put notice out to the club that there will be a vote. So as far as voting on in either endorsing,
I think we put it out before the club for over 7 days.
we
You
did have
sent
it
the
that we were
notice out.
discussing. I didn't put on their specific vote. I guess, Ron, are we okay with doing the vote tonight, or do I need to put notice? We had noticed that we would have this discussion, but I didn't put a notice saying we're having the vote tonight. So Just want to make sure we're okay. Ron? Is my parliamentarian here? Oh, while we ponder that for a minute, there was another couple comments in the chat. Joy asked, hi, I didn't see any, oh wait, okay, there's the link. Did everybody get the links? So there was a question about the link, and then there was a question about, is there a limit to the amount? If we want responsible representatives, shouldn't they be able to use funds judiciously? And that question came from Joy. Joy, do you want to elaborate on that question?
Do I need to?
No, I just wanted to give you an opportunity if you wanted to say something.
I hope that it's clear.
Shirley, can you address?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm trying to see the exact question. Let me look in the
So
chat here.
At 7:31, the chat came in. Is there a limit to the amount? If we want responsible reps, shouldn't we be able to use funds judiciously?
Yes, I think there is a limit, and I don't know. Every jurisdiction has to set up what their own limits are going to be. I mean, they can't get an unlimited amount of funds. It has to be a certain amount designated. And like, if you're sending the like democracy dollars out, like it would probably be the sum total of all those. But like I said, there's several different ways to do the financing. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. Is that kind of answering the question or for Joy?
Well,
Uh,
you said you
Can I
think
take a
there's a
shot
limit.
at Can I take a shot at Shirley's answer? If this piece of legislation passes, and for example, the city of Livermore would like to have public financing, I would assume that the city council would vote on a plan,
Yes.
and the city council would say, "This is what I think it's going to cost us," and maybe they'd even put that in front of the voters as to what the plan is. But this would give each city the right to cook its own formula for public financing. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So after this passes, all it's doing is lifting the ban, and then the individual jurisdictions who want to publicly finance have to do their own methods, and it depends on how much money is available. There's a small percentage of taxes that is involved, but it's such a minute amount compared to getting a good result at our elections rather than facing all the special interest money. So yeah, but you exactly hit that right though. The individual jurisdictions will say what the limit of the money is going to be and how each candidate will get the money divided up. If there's like more than one candidate or, like I said, it'll be decided at that time.
Beverly, you have a question? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, I thought someone was talking. I mean, this isn't covered in this bill, but when you go into an election, if you have, say, Beverly Weiss running against Donald Trump has name recognition, and some candidates would have none. And I always felt I wish there could be some mechanism to help someone who doesn't have the name recognition in terms of funding. I mean, this bill can't do that. And I don't know if there's any way to do that, but thought for the future.
Yeah, I know. And name recognition is a big problem too. Because that's why a lot of candidates end up running multiple times because they're getting recognition during that process. But yeah, that's not actually a part of our bill. But I agree with you. Once people start knowing the name and knowing what people's values stand for, but like I said, they at least have an opportunity to get their values out and hold town halls or just meet with people wherever they can. So yeah, thanks for the question.
And Nathan from I wanted to almost call him congressman. Senator Jerry McNerney is a co-author of the bill, is what he's saying here in the chat. That is, is
Wait a
he
minute.
on?
Oh, no, he's saying Jerry McNerney did not have name recognition his first attempt. Or am I, okay, wait a minute, is a co-author?
Jerry McNerney is a co-author of the bill, excited that we're all on the same page.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, he may have signed on. I didn't have his name, but yeah, we have a lot of people who sign on as co-authors. So I don't have the list of the entire amount of co-authors, but I'm so glad that he is involved in our bill.
Other questions? Anybody online? Richard, did I miss anybody's comments here? As far as the timing of this, can you describe how is this going to go? Do we have time to vote on this next month, or did Ron rejoin? I just want to make sure we're okay doing a vote.
Yeah, well, you actually voted to co-sponsor our event, which thank you very much for the $200. And you have the option to send a speaker to our kickoff. But yeah, there's no actual time limit on the endorsement. I mean, of course, we'd like to get them as soon as possible, but we have to follow the rules too. So if you have to wait till next month to do that,
well, we
you
may
know,
be okay. I'm just going to check with our parliamentarian, because we're supposed to, if we have a vote, put notice that we're having a vote. And we did put notice that we're having this discussion, but I did not say we would vote on it tonight. But
okay.
I just want to make sure we're okay with the notice that we gave.
Okay.
So folks don't get mad at me. I didn't follow the rules. Any other questions? That's right. Otherwise, they get mad at me sometimes. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to be there. We just need to make sure that we're following the processes for the vote. But I'm glad we went ahead and voted on at least the $200. We can sign on with that, at least that we're donating. I mean, I don't know why we can't vote on it. So, Ellis,
Yeah,
can you please talk to Ron and see if he can just double check that so we can maybe get a vote done tonight? Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and remove your spotlight.
Okay, thank you so much
Everything
for
else is good.
the $200. And like I said, if the endorsement comes later, that's fine if you can't vote on it tonight. And so I just appreciate you having me and telling you a little bit about the history of clean money and how I'm involved with it. But it's, you know, nothing can really happen with all the dark money that we have in campaigns right now. So, you know, this bill is so important. I mean, something we've been working on for years and years.
I agree. Okay, Richard, can you help me out here a little bit? Can you remove the spotlight from Shirley? And I'm going to get up the agenda for the next discussion.
Ron didn't answer.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe we can get that settled tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe
I sent out. Let me share something on the screen. Sorry, guys, I'm having trouble with my computer tonight. With me, almost there. Try to share this again. There we go.
Excuse me.
Okay. We were sent. This is a list of priority bills that have been identified by Indivisible, Livermore Indivisible, specifically. And one of them, of course, is SB 42, which we were just talking about. But there's some other bills here that are being proposed, and Indivisible has them grouped here by their type, which is great. But we'd like to look at some more of these different legislation and go into depth like we did tonight with SB 42. And there's another one here, Get Foreign Money Out of California Elections Act. Shirley, do you know if that's, are you tied in with that one?
Actually, last year we were working on that bill, that get the foreign money out of California elections. But I think what we did is we decided that we have to get this bill passed first before we can do that. But last year we were working on both of those bills at the same time, and it didn't go through. And I was really disappointed because that is something that has to happen, getting the foreign money out of politics.
So if SB 843 passed, but 42 didn't, would it have any effect? Because it would still be illegal? It would.
I mean, it would be more helpful if we have publicly funded elections, because then we'd have better people that would be voting to get the foreign money out. I mean, it's not impossible. It could actually pass independently, but we just want to focus all of our efforts. I'm sure we'll be co-sponsoring it as well.
And I see the lovely Kyoko Takayama, and she has her hand raised. Kyoko, this is Indivisibles list, so feel free to chime in and give us some feedback.
Yeah, so this is not the Livermore Indivisible list.
Oh.
Indivisible actually has a California State Strong. It's a coalition of over 80 indivisible groups. So we have these 5 work groups. So SB 42 is, of course, under the democracy reform. And we have been actually making tons of calls and stuff. So, yes. And I don't know if you've heard it or not, Shari. We actually had a meeting with Buffy Wicks after the last year's session, and she is now aware that we are really deeply caring about this. So hopefully this year she's not going to skip on this one. So I'm sure she is not going to, because we are putting out the pressure as well. So we are happy.
Okay, yeah, and we're targeting her area, Berkeley, so that we can get all the support we can get there. And
Yes.
so she'll be at the kickoff as well. And I
Yeah.
think there's going to be Alex Lee will be there, Scott Wiener will be there, and Josh Baker will be there. And we're even going to try to maybe ask Barbara Lee. We don't have the connection. If anybody has a connection with Barbara Lee, we were just talking about that in our last meeting. We would like to invite her as well, because I'm sure she stands for this as well.
I can pass that by Igor.
Sure, yeah. Igor will have a good connection with her. Yeah.
Okay, that might be our connection to her then. Thank you.
So Kyoko, this list was provided by Van as a starting point of some ledge that we could look at, and something that we could sink our teeth into. And so these were some legislation that he sent over. I thought it was Indivisibles. Maybe
Yeah.
it's the state level, or
Yeah, it's a state level.
I see.
And actually, I can give you the link. Actually, indivisible.org website is now on the line, and it's in there. So all the information.
Okay, so we'll check that out. And I mean, you guys have been looking at this. What is on this list? What are your top priorities for Livermore Indivisible?
Livermore Indivisible, I don't think currently working on any legislation. We have been working. SB 42 is one of the top priority, and for the climate one, opposing SB 540, that is a regionalization of the grid. So it's not, we are going to lose the control over the CAISO stuff, because they want to create Western states. And that means we're going to have actually the coal plant electricity. And it's really, really going against our climate goals. But the problem is Governor Newsom has been kind of putting this on. So we are opposing it, and more organization is coming in. I don't know what happened today. It was on the energy committees today, and we have been making calls for the Senator McNerney because he's on it, but I haven't heard of what happened today.
Other bills on here that were priority or that you feel are a priority?
No, these are all our priorities. So we have actually assigned people working on it. So whenever they are hitting the committees, we are going to get flag on it. So if our senators, assembly members are on that particular committees, we are starting to make calls. We may actually do the support or opposition letters and so forth. So I can provide more information when something comes up. So our goal is to have progressive bills passed, and these are the bills. It will be hard to pass without our help. That's Indivisibles criteria. So any of these bills coming up and passing these are the really important thing. So yeah, we are working on it.
Okay. So more to come on that. Any other comments? Let's see, there's some stuff in the chat here. Make sure. The SAVE Act is a big one. Dorothy, do you want to talk about that? And Joy's asking, are Republicans in Indivisible group?
Sorry.
Yes, they are. They are. Republicans, non-party, everybody's in Indivisible. So they're nonpartisan. Go ahead, Dorothy.
ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. I had a few windows open. Yeah, that was the one that they talked about at the Indivisible meeting the other night, was the SAVE Act, which
That's
is,
federal.
what's that?
That's a federal congressional level.
Oh, okay.
These priority bills are the state registrations. So I can talk about SAVE Act. So SAVE Act actually passed at the Congress House side, but it's not likely to pass on the Senator side because it has a filibuster. They have to have 60 and they don't have 60. So it's not likely to pass, but we are asking Senators Padilla and Schiff to reaching out all those kind of wishy-washy senators and not to vote with them, because if this one passes, so many people, especially women who had changed last name because of the marriage, they have to actually get birth certificate to prove they are actually that person. It's so if you actually married multiple times and stuff like that, the number of the papers they have to bring to just vote is just tremendous. It's just totally in a voter suppression bills. So there is no reason for the Dems to vote yes, but still House side there were 4 representatives voted for him, and 2 of them are actually in the purple district, so it's understandable, but other 2, there was no reason for it. So we are talking about Indivisible is also now talking about the primary challenging, but how this works.
Yeah.
is
Well,
all-
that one too. I mean, the other big thing about that one, if I understood correctly, is that it would it would or could block mail-in elections, so mail-out ballots,
Yeah.
and that's huge.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, that's the showstopper right there. Like to
Yeah.
not have mail-in voting
Mail-in
just
ballot
shuts out.
or the voter registration has to be in person. And those
Without
are,
ID, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, those are the three biggies, and it's totally just disenfranchise the voters, especially the lower income population. So it's
Yeah.
awful. And if this passes, we are not gonna win. So that alone means we have to stop this bill.
Wow.
Thank you for the context on it.
And Kyoko, is Indivisible doing, you said they're doing calls to our senators,
Yes.
Mhm.
US senators?
Yeah.
If you can provide me with that information, I'll be happy to send that to our members.
Okay.
Thank you. And then Joy's asking, is the real ID enough for voting? If that thing did pass, would the real ID suffice or not? They're going to make you bring in your birth certificate and your firstborn. If I was
Yeah,
Mary's
so-
wife, I'm forget it. Just forget about it.
The real ID would not suffice in California because California's real ID does not list whether or not
Your maiden
you're a
name.
U.S. citizen on the real ID.
Oh.
No, not it doesn't. Some of the states on their real IDs it actually lists whether or not they're a U.S. citizen on there, or it specifically says U.S. citizen. California, our real ID doesn't do that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And the passport works too, right? I think.
I think the passport does work, yes.
Passport's good. Yeah. But as has to be valid, has to have your right name on it. And if your name doesn't match, to Kyoko's point,
Yep.
your ballot, then yeah, you have to just be sure to have a birth certificate. And, I think it's like 3 or 4 forms of ID, I think at least 2 or something forms of ID.
And if you have a hyphenated name, they never get that right. So, I mean, it's different on every document I have.
Yeah, so what's happening right now in California is to get the real ID, you have to actually have all those past things, and passport is not enough. That's what federal rule is saying. So that alone is just giving a lot of problem with the people with multiple marriages and so forth. So it's going to be the same thing. So yes, if you can get passport, or if you have passport, you can use that ID. But passport is not cheap to get. So that alone is just a huge barriers for the low income population.
Right. Wow. Okay. Other questions or comments about this list? I guess we'll just be starting to go through these and going in priority order. It sounds like the jumping on the federal SAVE Act is a top priority, and then of course SB 42 for now. But if there's other items on here that members want to pursue, we can start hearing some of these and vote on them. Every month we can pick a ledge and go through it and vote on it. So feel free to send me your asks. Here, while I have my email up, a reminder, Senator Jerry McNerney is having a mixer. I sent it out to club members. And when we were chatting in the opening of this call, it was suggested that we go ahead and, for those attending, we would like to be able to put a list together from our members of questions to ask the senator. So we can discuss that, throw out some questions, have you guys think about the questions that you want to ask Jerry and send them to me. I will be going to this mixer. I invite all of you to go. If you can't go, at least make a donation. And send me your list of questions that you would like to ask Jerry. So think about that. If we have time, we'll go through some of this tonight. And then this is the campaign kickoff for the Fair Elections Act. Here's some of the guest speakers. It's in Berkeley, Sunday, May 18th. I did send it to all of our members. Trent Lang will be speaking, Igor. You see Alex Lee, several of the speakers here. And as was noted earlier, it's 3:30 to 5. And here's the list of speakers. And then I guess we're at the point where we're just going to start recapping some of the stuff that we had from last month with our brainstorming session. Some of the key takeaways, I'm just going to go over some of the key highlights and some of the stuff that's already been done so far. Rescind committee sign-up form. I haven't done that. I will do that this week. We need to focus on tangible local issues and actions to attract and retain members. I did post this event on Mobilize, so we will do that for every month and try to get more people in, reaching out to folks that haven't been to one of our meetings before. I'd also like each member to invite somebody to the next meeting. So bring one friend, try to bring one friend. If you can bring two, even better. And we're going to slowly start to expand our membership. Improve the coordination with other progressive groups. I am starting to do that with Kyoko and Van and reaching out to mainly Indivisible and Swing Left, but other organizations that have our like interests. You know, we need to get out there and share that information with these other groups. Expand outreach to diverse communities. Especially Asian Americans. We have a lot of Asian Americans in Dublin specifically, a lot, and Livermore and Pleasanton, and we need to get out to those communities and introduce them to what we do and hear other diverse ideas, not just this old white lady here. So we want to reach out to other folks. Use a QR code for events. I have documents to hand out that have QR codes on it, and we do have our business cards in. I ordered them for the club, couple hundred, and it features the, let's see if I have one here, features the preamble with the Constitution. So I will at our next meeting, we will be live. We'll be in Pleasanton again. And I will bring the business cards there. I will also bring the business cards to the Dublin Tesla protest this weekend. So if you're at the Dublin Tesla protest and you want some business cards, come up and see me and I'll have them. So I can give these to members and then you guys can hand them out. You meet somebody and say, hey, you know, come and check us out. Has our website, has what we do as suggested on the back of the business card with some of the wording right from our website. And the language that I chose to use was Ellis's, his original quotes, which has been retained on our website, and now it's on our business cards. So thank you, Ellis, for your thoughts of, did you see the business card? Let me see if I have a sample I can show you guys.
Jackie, a comment while you're getting the business card.
Yeah.
If you're going to be at the Tesla dealer on Saturday, we should be giving out invitations to hear Dr. Michael Baker next Monday night talking to the club.
Yes. Yes.
So if
I could print up some
there's
flyers.
some kind of flyer or something like that that we could hand people that have the the Zoom ID and password on it?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, that would be great, because that's an ideal place to recruit. I met Corey there. I'm not sure that's
Keep
the
talking. I'm
first
gonna
time
try
he
to put those.
heard about the club, but there are several club members who attend.
Yeah, I think you were what got me
Plus-
going there. I had forgotten that we met there for the other event, but
Okay,
thank you.
okay.
So let me
Thank
show
you for
what-
showing up.
And Jackie, if you send out notices about Baker also.
Yeah,
On
if we
Monday.
could send that to the MailChimp, that would be real good.
Here is let's see if we can see this. Here's a copy of the front. Has the QR code. It says who we serve, what areas, and it says here, Livermore, Amador, and San Ramon Valleys, Tri-Valley Democratic Club, with our PO box, our email, and when we meet on the third Monday of each month.
You have the website on there?
And this QR code is the website. Takes you to the website. So if you take your picture camera out, and then on the back, and I only ordered 200 of these, so if you guys don't like these designs, I can do a different one.
So it seemed to me I saw one copy that had the website on the back as a regular URL.
Yeah, this one has about the Tri-Valley Democratic Club on the back. And because that was some of the suggestions that we had, is to, you know, make sure that we have on here what we do. So it says the club provides opportunities for Democrats in the Tri-Valley to push the arc of the moral universe towards justice. What we do: protect democracy, help elect Democrats to office, endorse and review ballot measures, take impactful and meaningful political action, have fun with like-minded people. So that's on the back. On the front, like I said, the QR code's in there. But again, if you don't like these, we can always order more. I didn't want to order a ton of them in case there were changes. Yeah, I see, Mark. Yes, should put the WW on the back. I will order that for the next batch.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I get you. So the comments are, put the website instead of QR. We were trying to make it easy. But you know, I can always order
Some
other.
of us go on the web through this thing called a computer rather than the phone.
I got you. Okay, let's see. Back to
Jackie, Beverly has a question.
oh, I'm sorry, Beverly. Go ahead.
Just a quick thing, there's a 50501 website, and I don't see like the event at the Tesla dealership this weekend. Can anyone put events up on that site? They have a Tesla event in somewhere else, and you know, I was looking for events for this week, and I was just wondering.
Where I've been finding it is Mobilize.
Oh, okay.
Mobilize.us, and that is where, like, I post the Tri-Valley Democratic Club, Indivisible posts stuff there. Mine actually is showing up under CA Dim, and I just set up a separate site for Tri-Valley Dim. So my next meeting will be out on there, but it's, if you go to Mobilize and just do a quick search there, you'll get everything.
Does that get, is this 50501 getting lots of hits or no? I mean, you know, the ones who sponsored that the protest, was it last Saturday, the Saturday before? I've lost it. You know, so I don't know, would it be worthwhile to post it there? I have no idea. Just a thought.
Yeah, I don't know if I can post on there. I've never
Okay.
tried the 5051. That
I'll put the website on, I'll click the website into the chat. I'll put the website on if you want.
and there's and Corey posted the Indivisible event on Mobilize there.
Okay.
And the Mobilize is good because it'll show you the closest events and it keeps you updated. I mean, it sent me a text today about my own event.
Okay, because this
It was like-
5051 does have been sending out emails and they do the same thing. But I'll just post the website here. Okay, and now be quiet.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much. No problem. No problem at all. Losing my train of thought here. Let's get back to the agenda. Actually, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and open it up for officer reports. And I'm going to try to call Ron again, so we might be able to vote on this tonight. Ellis, do you want to start?
Thank you, Jackie. First off, I want to plug what we're doing next Monday night, which is having a speaker, Admiral Michael Baker, who's a doctor. He's been to Ukraine 5 times. He's trained the Ukrainian medics about procedures on the battlefield. So he saved lives there. And he's a retired admiral, lives in La Marinda area, so he's kind of local. And he makes very interesting presentations, and it kind of gives us an insider's view on what's going on in the Ukraine. And I strongly recommend that you come to that one and bring a friend. I've heard Dr. Baker 2 or 3 times Zoom meetings at various Democratic clubs. A second thing is that after I make the report for the political director, Beverly Weiss wanted to say something about something she read in the New York Times. But onto the political director's report. Recently, there was a speaker, Dr. Stephen Fish, who wrote this book called Comeback. It was published before the election. And what he does is an analysis of where the Democrats really went wrong. And the idea that people vote because of various issues rather than some other factor. And the real thing is that he found was that there's a difference between what's really going on and public perception. For example, public perception was that Joe Biden's economy wasn't doing well. The reality was just the opposite. But public perception won. Another thing, we thought Kamala Harris won the debate. But in fact, I doubt if anybody can tell me anything she said in the debate. The main thing that came out of the debate was they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Which gets to what he found when he looked at the last 11 elections, not counting the 2024 election, because I said he published the book before the election. And what he found in those elections is he looked at the Gallup polls. And the Gallup poll asked 3 questions. And I'm going to read them because I want to get them right. One question is, how well does the phrase provide strong leadership describe the Democratic or Republican presidential candidates? The second question was, how well does the phrase is knowledgeable describe that candidate? And the third question is, how well does the phrase really cares about people like you apply to the candidates? And this is what he found, that when asked the cares about people like you question, that half the time the candidate that people perceived as cares for people like you, that candidate won. And the other half the time, the other candidate won. So that wasn't the determining factor. Similarly, is knowledgeable, that is, knows what he's doing. And we found the same exact thing, that half the time the candidate that was considered more knowledgeable was elected, and half the time they weren't. But the third factor is the strongest candidate. We found in 6 cases the candidate that was considered the strongest one, and in no case did the weaker candidate win. And in the other cases, there was a tie as to who was considered the strongest candidate. So what he has found is that the strong candidate, the one perceived as strong, is the one that wins. And he translates this to dominance. And in fact, what needs to be dominated is the media. I think Beverly said something about that earlier. Isn't there some way that an unknown candidate could gain name recognition? Well, a presidential candidate is going to have to gain more than name recognition. They're going to have to be going out there and kicking ass and really pushing back on the Republicans and making them look weak. We know that we watch what's going on in sports. We have dominant teams. We have dominant boxers. We have dominant athletes. And they intimidate their opponents. So it's a mind game as well as a physical game. And Trump plays that mind game rather well. And we have to be aware that it's dominance that people vote for, particularly in that male 18 to 34 category, where Trump, frankly, kicked ass. He brought in a lot of people into that area. Why? They wanted somebody tough. And no matter what you can say about Kamala, she really didn't come across tough. She said she was a district attorney, but she didn't feel like she would get into the fights. And that's my feeling, not Dr. Fish in this book. I'm trying to get Dr. Fish to be a speaker at the club. Haven't had much success lately, but I will try to bring him. So when we're looking for a candidate for president, and we're shopping right now, all of us are looking for that candidate, looking for somebody who'll be able to dominate. And when Trump said he's going to run for a third term, I think we should take that seriously. He's pulled an incredible comeback this time, and who knows what he's going to do. And it's getting crazier. So maybe that'll enlighten you, but it's not a combination of issues that the right candidate checks the right set of boxes and that will get them elected. It doesn't work that way. You don't have to agree with the dominant character. You just have to know that that's the guy that's going to get things done. I like Josh Shapiro. When he was campaigning for Kamala, he said he got up every morning and he thought these initials, GSD, get shit done. That impressed me. Anyway, that is the political director's report, the secretary's report. You all got this very long list of action items, but I think the best action item is passing out those business cards at the Tesla dealer on Saturday and inviting people to hear our speakers. And those are prime candidates.
And I'll reorder some cards with the website on the front as well, and I'll save these as a backup.
Yeah.
But we'll have some to
Yeah.
hand out this
I
weekend.
mean, we can hand those out and tell them it's a Tri-Valley Democratic Club. Google it. Remember?
We pop up pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
And I do notice, before we get to the next report, I do notice Victor.
I said that I'd give Beverly some time.
Beverly.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing. Is there a way, and I'm making all these suggestions, probably I should be the one to follow up. Would anyone be interested in having like a chat area for us? Like, there's been some phenomenal articles like through Substack, Robert Reich, Paul Krugman, New York Times, even the Republican op-ed people are writing about what's going on. And I don't know if people would be interested if everybody's reading it on their own, but like I work remotely and we have this chat area where everybody can post stuff and I could share like New York Times articles and New York Times. I don't know if people are interested in that, just a thought provoker. And now I'll stop making.
I'll raise my hand for that.
Make
I'd be interested in that.
We can also make somebody admin on our Facebook if you want to share stuff
you can.
that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Do you want me
You
to
know,
be
we have
on Facebook?
Well, I didn't even know you're on Facebook. I'm gonna look at it. And
Yeah, let me.
that's great.
I will send you an invite from Tri-Valley
Thank you.
Gyms to be an administrator, and then you can post
So
those
that would be
directly.
great. I'll send you because I have a strange name on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send me exactly how you're on Facebook,
Okay.
and I'll find you that way. And anybody else that wants to be a social media poster, work on the website. I know Linda is going to be helping me with the website coming up. So, all the help I can get. Yes, yes, yes. Please, please, please. Awesome. And I do notice that our regional director, Victor, is on the call. Victor's in the house. Victor, do you want to unmute yourself and say hi? Do you have any updates for us? Victor, can you hear me?
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm at another Dem Club meeting in person, so I just need to walk out.
Oh, sorry about that. Didn't want to put you on the spot, but I didn't want to, I wanted to acknowledge you, seeing you there. That's awesome.
Sorry about. Thank you, Jackie. Hi everyone. So there's a couple updates. We are going to be calling a regional meeting coming soon. I need to finalize with one of the other regional directors, Alejandro Carrillo. He had requested that we do a joint regional meeting on Zoom. So I'm waiting to hear back on him if that's still the case. But it should be either happening this weekend or early next week. We don't have many items to go over, mostly just kind of covering what to expect for the upcoming convention on May 30th to June 1st, and answering any questions for any new delegates, right, who may not understand the process or want to know more about like what their roles and responsibilities are. We are going to be providing volunteer / club of the year awards at the convention. So I will be sending out an email to delegates and other folks within the region to see if they'd like to submit any suggestions or recommendations on who should receive that award at the convention. So expect that to come out soon. What else? Also, if any of you will be attending the convention, please note that if you want to participate in any of the caucus elections, you must be a member in good standing at least 30 days prior to the meeting. So you cannot wait until convention to pay your dues and become a member. You need to take care of that ahead of time. I believe the deadline to do that, don't hold it against me, but I believe it's like next Wednesday is the deadline for folks to pay their dues and be members in good standing for different caucuses. So keep that in mind. Some of the caucuses will be meeting online via Zoom. So if you're not able to attend in person, don't worry, you can join. For example, Rural Caucus will be meeting at 8 a.m. I believe Saturday. So if any of you want to join on Zoom, you totally can. For any of you who are delegates, if any of you are having any issues registering for the convention or registering for the hotel block reservation, please reach out to me so I can help you out. I do know that there was some confusion, so sorry about that. Because Cadem staff accidentally sent emails to the wrong email list, and so it confused a lot of delegates who thought they were delegates but weren't delegates, and delegates who weren't delegates thinking they were delegates. So all kind of crazy business. But if you received a text message and an email from me, I believe April 1st, know that that means that you are a delegate within the party. If you did not, then you are not. But yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. Outside of, pre-endorsement is coming up, so clubs need to start updating their rosters and updating what it means to be a member in good standing. I believe the deadline to register for the pre-endorsement for clubs will be either July 15th or July 22nd. So you do have a couple more months to keep increasing your membership and making sure you have that all in line before it's required for y'all to submit it to the party for them to confirm how many votes you will have for the pre-endorsement conference for the congressional, state senate, and state assembly races in your area. Be mindful that clubs get one vote for every 20 registered Democrats per assembly district, right? So for every 20 Democrats you have in Assembly District 16 that are members of your club, that will get you one vote to vote. And then whatever seats that individual has, they'll be able to vote in those seats. So for example, like, if you are in obviously 8016, you'll be able to vote in Rebecca Bauer Cahan's district, and then you'll be able to either vote in Jerry McNerney's or Tim Grayson's Senate seat. And then for Congress, whoever your congressman is. So keep that in mind. If you guys have any questions or need any help with the club registry, feel free to reach out to me. Once we get closer to the deadline, I will be reaching out to each of the club's officers or executive boards and kind of going through the process to make sure it runs as smooth as possible this year.
Now, we already, we submitted chartering documents, and with that, we had to submit a roster. And I was told that was going to be used for pre-endorsement. So do I need to upload another roster then as we get closer? Because, I said that way early in the year, right?
So that was good that you sent it already. I would recommend that you do send another one closer to the deadline, because I'm sure the roster you sent, a few months ago is probably not accurate now. You probably have gained more members since then. And so you want to make sure that you submit the most up-to-date roster that you have, so that ensures that your club gets as many votes as possible for the pre-endorsement conference.
And our birthdays, are they still have grace period on the birth date issue? Having that on the roster?
Could you clarify about the birthday issue?
Well, last year or the last go around, they said that birthdays were going to be required soon, but they weren't. We didn't have to do it last time, so we left the birthday blank. Members are
Oh,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
no, you will definitely need to have your member's date of birth. I know last time, I think myself and the other regional directors kind of took care of that for folks. So I remember spending a long time trying to update clubs rosters. If you're able to do it yourself, that'd be great. If you're having difficulty doing it, I would recommend reaching out to Igor and asking if you can use the PDI account to kind of look up that information for your members.
Oh, okay.
I
I have
know.
PDI. I can look it up.
Oh,
I'm the
okay,
UDC chair.
okay, that's perfect. Use your PDI access because that's literally what we did in the Central Valley. I had to go through every single Central Valley club's members and find out what their date of births were and all that other stuff. So, the most you can get that knocked out ahead of time, the better for me. So I would really appreciate it if you get it all complete.
Okay, I see a job I have now. Looking up birth dates. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Victor from the party? Thank you, Victor. And I will see you at the convention.
Oh, just a quick question. He said we could reach out to him. How do we reach out to you?
Yeah, I can put my information in the group chat. You can also find my contact information on the California Democratic Party website. So if you go to cadem.org/I think our leaders.
Okay.
But it's probably just easier for me to type it in the chat, and I'll do that real quick.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a new delegate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and the last thing, sorry. So there are going to be elections coming up for convention. So just for the delegates to know, we will be electing new leadership for the executive board for the state party, for chair, the 2 vice chairs, secretary, and controller. Those will be 4-year terms. And then we are electing new regional directors, which will be 2-year terms. And I will be running for re-election for that seat. So just keep that heads up for y'all who are delegates. As of right now, we have a contested race for chair, male vice chair, and secretary. For female vice chair and for controller, it's unopposed. It's just one candidate running those 2 seats.
And I notice we're getting texts from the candidates now.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to start ramping up. I will be working with some other regional directors. So myself and I think 2 or 3 other regional directors will be doing a candidate forum. So that way, if any delegates or any folks who are interested in knowing about these individuals can show up, it'll be on Zoom, and we'll just ask them like generic basic questions that we expect of our leaders. So be cognizant of that. Will be coming up soon.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions? And thank you so much, Victor. Ronald Lorenz, did you rejoin? Alan Nakashir, our treasurer. Do you want to give your treasurer report?
I'm here.
How you doing, Alan?
Good. Well, this month we had an income membership dues of $225. We had expenses. We had $60 for the county, county Democratic. Jackie says, I'm not exactly.
Oh, the UDC.
Yeah, okay. That we had that to pay. We paid $4.41 to Square for the fee for collecting dues. We also had the bill for Zoom come through, $159.90. That's an annual thing, so we can have these wonderful meetings. Also, our post office box was due, which was $148. We had total income of $225, expenses of $372.31, we were in the hole $147.31. We started off with a balance in the checking account of $3,217.91. We had a net loss for the month of $147.31, leaving us a cash balance of $3,070.60, which was more than we had last year. As far as year to date, we've had income of $1,500. We had total expenses of $823. We have 92 members, which is about 20 members more than we had last year, which is good. Any questions? And Jackie, just let me know where to send that check for the $200.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I don't see any other officer.
I have a question, Jackie.
Yes.
Our meetings were previously on YouTube, and for some reason, for the last few months, it's not posted on YouTube.
Yeah, they are. I just got them up late. If you look, it's up.
Okay. I
They're up
looked a
there.
couple of weeks ago. Oh,
You know
so
what? I've just fallen way behind on things. And no, it is on YouTube. And also as you know, Ellis, the Fathom app records this as well. So we have kind of a double recording.
I used that to generate the minutes and tweaked it, but I usually go to YouTube and look at the video to see if Phantom missed anything.
Yeah, I will do better, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You know what? I think we will go ahead and take a vote on SB 42 because as you pointed out, Ellis, we did send it out, that we were going to be discussing it. There was notice that we would have this discussion. So instead of, I know what'll happen if we carry it over to next month, then we'll have a whole bunch of new people on the call that will want this presentation again. And then we're back trying to reinvent it again. So I think it's safe that we can go ahead and vote on this with the notice that we gave. So I'm going to put forward that the club signs on to actually sponsor, not just support, but help sponsor this legislation. And I will be going to the fundraiser. So if there's questions that you guys want to gather for that event, and I will also ask Igor if he can invite Barbara Lee. But if you guys want to send me your questions. So with that, I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we co-sponsor SB 42. Do I have a second on that motion? Alice, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unmute
Aye,
yourself.
aye, 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 aye.
All club members. Any opposed? Any club members opposed? Say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. So we are officially sponsoring, co-sponsoring. We will send the check to $200, and I will also write something. Or actually, Ellis, can you write something up on behalf a press release, and then we can submit it, send it to the various press, including the Independent.
So you want a support letter?
A support letter. A press release.
Yeah. Why we voted to support?
Right.
Can do.
And then, as was mentioned earlier, the fundraiser for Jerry McNerney's coming up. And do we want to use this time, the next few minutes, to talk about questions for Jerry McNerney?
What is he doing to help get Republicans to join Democrats in Congress at the state level?
Do
And
Republicans to vote with Democrats at the
Yes.
state level?
yes, on these national issues. And also he has, because of his prior role in Congress, he has connections with a lot of people there. And I'd like to hear what he has to say about the chances of, again, Republicans joining Democrats in opposition to the our loss of democracy that we're experiencing.
That's a good question. I doubt those cowards. I just think they're cowards. They won't stand up. They're afraid of them.
Well, and we did hear online, we did hear of a congresswoman who was Republican, and she said the fear is retaliation in the form of being shot or having your family shot. In other words, it isn't just not being reelected, because if there's the elections are going to be important in a year and a half. It's about the physical harm that could come to you. So it's the first time I've heard that.
That was Senator Lisa Murkowski, and they tried to primary her, and it failed. So she's the gutsiest Republican.
Yes.
Yeah, or having your house burned down, that Joyce says here. Exactly. I mean, it's terrifying. It's no fun to be in public office. You have to be brave, and there's nobody brave in the Republican Party right now. Very few of them, anyways.
Well, you know what the Democratic congressmen, what they go through and how they have to have security
Yes. And
around their house and when they're in public.
And 250 years ago or so, we were at war fighting for our Constitution. So at some point, it is a physical battle.
Right.
Other questions that people have for Jerry McNerney?
Oh.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, actually, mine's not from McNerney. So sorry, I wanted to go back. There's two things you can actually do on mine is one is endorse and one is to co-sponsor, or you can do both. And I just wanted to make sure the language that you're endorsing as well, which it kind of may seem implied, but do we need to vote to endorse as well? Endorse and co-sponsor?
The first vote was to endorse, the one that I made and Eloy's second, and then the second vote was to, I guess, co-sponsor. I wrote down sponsor, but co-sponsor would be appropriate.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I wasn't sure I heard in the language there. Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you so much for co-sponsoring and endorsing. Thank you.
I figured we might as well. If we're gonna send the money, and might as well put our name behind it, right? Other questions or comments? Other new business? Anyone? Do we have new business? Well, we're a few minutes early, but that's okay. Again, I will send out a reminder about the events this weekend. Every Saturday there is a protest in Dublin Tesla. So thanks to Tri-Valley Indivisible for that one. So I will be there with our business cards. Look for me, and we'll hand these out. I'll order some more with the website on the front. And there's also May Day, May 1st, Thursday. There's May 1st protests. I will send out information about that. It's happening in various cities. I don't know if we have one in the Tri-Valley. I'll keep looking for that. Let's see, I think Kyoko had a note earlier about it. But I will go ahead and send it out to club members. And I just wanted to close tonight in honor of Pope Francis. He was a good man. And as far as popes go, he said some amazing things over the years that I never thought I'd hear come from the Catholic Church. And, you know, when he said about LGBTQIA community, and he said, "Who am I to judge?" My mouth just hit the floor. I couldn't believe that this was coming from a pope. But his stance on the environment, his stance on immigration, the poor, a very, very decent man. So in honor of Pope Francis, I want to close in that.
Good.
So good evening. Have a good night. Think of the Pope tonight. Say a prayer if you'd like. And thank you all for joining, and look for my note with more information coming out about upcoming protests. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks
you.
so much.
Right.
Thank, good night.